succeeded, and then he had represented the climate in face of the Vulcan Colton. And today we are actually facing a case where a company is trying to get benefit in an unstable market of goods. My speech will be divided into two main issues. In the first part of my presentation, I will prove the fact that respondent had no legal right to award the contract on the 7th of July due to the lack of the fundamental breach. They will also say words about the non-necessity of giving us an additional time. And in the second part of my speech, I will prove that the avoidance on the 9th of July was also invalid. So moving to my first submission, as it is known from the materials of the case, at the 23rd of March, claimant showed his intention that he needed 100 metric tons of coltan, but at that time, amendments of such contract was not possible. So the 28th of March, a new contract was made, a contract on delivery of 30 metric tons of coltan. So, at the time when claimant received a notice of transport with an email attached to it, the claimant was actually confused. Not only confused, but misled, because the information which was stated there could only be interpreted as an offer for changing the terms of the contract. And our email to the respondent was actually the avoidance. But the claimant was understanding that there might be some mistake, and hopefully waited for some answer. But we had no answer for quite a big amount of days. That's why we were absolutely sure that it actually was an offer and our name was on acceptance. That's why we established a letter of credit due to 30 metric tons of coltan for a price of $4,500,000. And what's interesting, exactly at the day when we issued and sent the letter of credit, the respondent reacted immediately. It brings me to the conclusion that they were waiting for the mistake of the client to avoid the contract. But despite my conclusions, it is obvious that due to the Article 64(1)(a) of the UNIDROIT principles, it is only possible to avoid the contract when there is a fundamental breach. And do we have a fundamental breach in our letter of credit? We hope no, and we not even hope, we are absolutely sure. Because if you take the definition, if you look at the definition of fundamental breach in the Article 25 of the CSG, the most important thing there is that the other party must be deprived of something, of what this party was expecting. And what was the respondent expecting? A payment in amount of $1,035,000 for 30 metric tons of coltan. Actually, we had a higher payment for the higher amount, but how was highlighted by the Ontario Superior Court in Rosendale Development's case, and also by Jacob Sigget, partial drawing allows the seller to draw an amount less than the amount available under the letter of credit, as the aggregate drawings do not exceed the total balance under the letter of credit. It means that the payment will be split, and there will be no loss for the respondent. Also,
how would the bank know exactly how much it was to pay under the letter of credit for what you call a partial drawing of 30, or a partial shipment and a partial drawing for the 30 metric tons of gold?
Mr. Arbitrator, it's just a question of appropriate documents. Because if the full amount of the necessary documents is given to the bank, it is possible for the bank to make this split payment.
Okay, I understand that's possible, but how does the bank know exactly how much to pay? Because it's not apparent from the letter of credit that 30 metric tons coltan are worth $1,350,000 in the valuation of the parties.
Mr. Arbitrator, if the appropriate documents are not suitable here, it is also possible if the commercial invoice is included in the documents, for which it could be possible to understand which payments must be made. And the bank could also, in this case, if the bank does not understand what documents are needed, it could ask for additional documents to make clear what amount of money should be given.
Would it look at the contract?
It is possible, but the letter of credit is independent from the contract due to the Article 4 of the U.S. Business Code. there are two essential parts. First of all, the Incoterms were changed by the mistake of the respondent's employee, which makes us take a brief look at the Article 80 of CSG. And even despite this, the loss of the money which occur for the respondent is just an amount of $1,000, which is in comparison with the entire money that is involved in this contract is just not essential and do not bring any essential damage to the other party. So that's why, summarizing all these facts, we are sure that there were no fundamental breach in our first letter of credit, and the claimant was just misled by the mail attached to the notice of transfer. Going further to the second part of our first submission, the claimant is absolutely sure that giving us an additional time was not necessary. If we take a look at the commentaries to the CSG by Peter Schlechter and Ingeborg Schweitzer, it is stated that additional time may only be given when the original time is over, and knowing that we had 14 days after the notice of transfer, the additional time wasn't yet needed. But even if the Honorable Tribunal finds that the additional time was given, let's just see the things. We had less than 24 hours, and one of the days includes an additional time was Saturday. So firstly, we had 14 days for establishing letter of credit, and then we only had just a day. And it also brings me to the conclusion that...
Again, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You mentioned that one of the days during the delay was a Saturday. Was the bank open on the Saturday?
Yeah, Mr. Arbitration.
It was not.
So it all, again, brings me to the conclusion that the respondent was step by step looking for a mistake of the claimant to avoid the contract and to get benefit from the rising value of the content at that time due to the extended crisis. Moving to my second submission, the claimant is absolutely sure that the second letter of credit was issued and sent just in time with the deadline, despite the fact that the Danubian law is silent about the calculation of the deadline. It is possible, due to the paragraph 4 of the contract, to use USP 600. And the most important there, what is stated, is that the letter of credit, first of all, must be established, not sent. But then it must be established in a day after receiving notice of transfer. It means that the deadline falls not on the 8th of July, but on the 9th. Even if the Honorable Tribunal finds that the deadline was on the 8th of July, we still issued the letter of credit just in time, because if you take a look at the draft principles at Article 1.12, these are two separate parties. If the parties are in different countries, and the trade bank, which provides payment security under the contract, is situated in the third country, the state time that must be used is the state time of the bank. In our case, the trade bank was situated in Mauritania, and Mauritania's state time is just as the same as the Equatorial state time. That's why we were in time with our second letter of credit. So, summarizing all above mentioned, it is obvious that the respondent was just looking for our mistake, because there were no essential breaches, no fundamental breaches in the contract. The second letter of credit was issued in time. We behaved in a good manner.
I'm sorry, counsel. I'm not sure whether it is yet clear to me. You said it had to be established. Are you suggesting that the letter of credit doesn't need to be received? Is that the distinction that you draw between something that is issued and something that is received?
Mr. Arbitrator, that's exactly the point, because there were problems with delivering the letter of credit due to actually non-business days and the working day of the employees. That's why the countdown must start from the moment, from the next day exactly after establishing, not at the next day after sending.
What sort of problems were with the delivery? I'm not so sure that I followed there. You said problems with the delivery because of the weekend?
Also because of the weekends.
And also because of what? Also implies that there must be something else too.
The delivery was, there were two types of delivery. First of all, the actual delivery of the main document, and we also sent a copy to the email. But the original document was going quite a long time that it was needed. So that's why by the time the respondent could get this document, the time of the deadline could already be changed.
I guess the original was just sent by courier, right?
Could you please repeat the question?
The original letter of credit that was issued, that was sent by courier, is that right?
By a delivery service, yes.
Which is the normal 24-hour delivery courier.
That's right. Mr. Richards, you're absolutely right.
The fact that the problem doesn't really say anything that, there was something going wrong with this delivery. It was just 24 hours. It took a little long.
But the market of Carlton is extremely unstable, so that's why we cannot wait for even a little bit further time than was expected. Thank you.
Yes. Now I think it's time to hear from you, is it not?